because we got some games that are going to affect the college football playoff, and this one right here is one of them, almost certainly. And to be honest with you, it almost certainly is every year. Is Georgia going on the road this year to Knoxville to face the Tennessee Volunteers? Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite in this one. That's the lowest I've seen this line in several years. Over set at 50.5. We're obviously Georgia fans here. You can see the just Hall of Famer Georgia Bulldogs pictured behind me. But we pride ourselves here on really just trying to call balls and strikes. I love Georgia. I want Georgia to do well, but I'll be the first one on here to scrutinize Georgia when I don't like something. And so far this year, I have not liked what I've seen from the offense from the Georgia Bulldogs. Gunnar Stockton seems reluctant to get the ball down the field. And the offensive line, it looks like more of the same to me. And what's really odd about that, Mason, is the offensive line last year was very talented. Guys got drafted. They're in the NFL. But they never gelled. And there was a lot of injuries. So, it was one of those things where it's like, was it the injuries? Were the guys coming back too soon? They're not really ready. I don't know. I don't pretend to know all the answers to those questions. I can just tell you the offensive line last year was not up to par. It's not up to standard, not up to Georgia and national championship standards. That's for sure. And it held Georgia back, especially considering that Georgia was pocket pass centric, right? Pro style offense. Got the prototypical pro-style quarterback in Carson Beck last year, and it was honestly just a really big disappointment. So, 2 games into the season, I haven't seen anything that has really caught my eye with the Georgia offense that makes me super, super confident in them riding their offense to winning a championship. Does that mean Georgia can't win an SEC championship? No, the offense wasn't good last year, and Georgia won the SEC championship. Okay? So I'm not writing Georgia off. I'm not writing off this offense. I'm not writing off this offensive line. It is a wait and see for me at this point. I'm still in wait and see mode. This is a good Tennessee defense that Georgia's going to be facing this weekend. Is it as good as what it was last year? I don't know. I think maybe that's yet to be seen a little bit because Tennessee, they played Syracuse, which was a pretty much a rebuilt team after last year, right? And then a no-name team last week that they beat 70-11-0, right? I don't even know what the final was, but it was bad. It was the most points Tennessee had scored in a while, and that's great. The offense looked great, but they're not playing the Helen Keller School for the Blind and Deaf defense this weekend. They're playing the Georgia defense. And look, man, let's just be real about it. Georgia hasn't lost in Knoxville since 2015. This Tennessee offense hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since against the Georgia defense since 2021, I believe. Not only has Tennessee struggled to score points in this series as of late, they've struggled to get first downs in this series as of late. And we're sitting here talking about this is the best Georgia defense that we've probably seen since 21, or 22. So 50.5 points is way too many points, in my opinion, on this one. I think this is a low-scoring bout here, okay? Whoever wins this one, I think they win at 17-14. Now, put a pin in what I said about Georgia. Are we going to see some downfield passing in this game? We could. Is Georgia holding something back for this game? It would make sense why they would. I could see why Georgia would hold something back. Now, sometimes back when Jake Fromm was the quarterback, we got into November and people were talking about, well, we're just holding it back. We're not going to – why would we pass the ball? Why would we have to pass the ball? We're going to wait till we play Alabama, and then we're going to pass the ball. And that's bull jive, man. But coming into the third game of the season, whenever you play 2 nobodies, and then you got to go on the road to play Tennessee, it would make a little bit more sense to really focus on yourself offensively and work on situations in those first couple of games and really just kind of do whatever you want to do, right? Against a couple of really just not good teams. I'm hoping as a Georgia fan that's what's going on with this offense. But I haven't seen this offense perform at a high level yet, so I'm not going to bet on it too. I think this is a low scoring game, as I said, and I think the winner of this sucker wins it 17-14. Vegas thinks it's going to be Georgia, and that would fit right in the spread there. But I think the under is the play if you're going to bet this game, which I'm not. Um, Give me Georgia to win it. I think I just think that the defense is too much for Tennessee. Look, Tennessee beats up on nobody's every year, and it doesn't mean a darn thing about this game. So I'm not buying into what I've seen so far of Tennessee beating teams that have no business competing with them on the field. I thought they gave up way too many yards to Syracuse through the air. And I'm interested to see if Georgia, with the revamped wide receiver room that's supposed to be pretty good, can get the ball aired out a little bit and strike this Tennessee defense where it hurts. And I think that's on the back end. Um, are they able to do that? We'll see. We'll see about that. What do you think about this one, man? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think that the under is the play here. Um, I might actually bet on that. We'll have to wait until Thursday to see if I change my opinion on this game. But um, one thing that does help Georgia in this matchup is Ricky Gibson being out and Jermod McCoy. Those are two solid defensive players. Jamal McCoy might be the best cornerback in college football. I think you could definitely make an argument for that. And then Ricky Gibson, very competent cornerback as well. So your two, you got one lockdown corner in Jamal McCoy. He's out. And then on the other side too, I think that certainly hurts Tennessee in what they want to do in this football game, which is load the box and still be able to play man on the perimeter and stop Georgia in the passing game. They're not going to be able to play that way. They're going to have to play in a little bit more, uh, zone type defenses, and they're just not going to be able to play man against this wide receiving group for Georgia unless they're able to bring pressure on Gunnar Stockton, and he's not able to deliver the football, which is very possible. However, I saw a couple of times this season so far where the opposing defense brought pressure, was able to create havoc in the backfield. We saw Gunnar Stockton squirt out through the middle of that line and get rush for 8 yards, whereas last year that was a 10-yard loss with Carson Beck. So I think that there is an advantage to having Gunnar Stockton from that sense. Now, the disadvantage is in those same plays, Gunnar was getting to his first read, maybe his second, and then tucking and running, not getting to the third and fourth who are open, right? Some of that has to do with the pressure again, but also there were some plays last week in particular. You mentioned Gunnar being reluctant. You go back and watch the film, there were a lot of plays where he missed a guy, missed a read, and decided to check the ball down or tuck it and run. And that's what's been costing Georgia in this offense. Um, if that continues, Tennessee has a very strong case to make to win this football game. Looking at
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's offense, I think Joey Aguilar has provided a spark that Tennessee fans just have to be extremely happy with. Um, the situation involving Nico Iamaleava this summer and him transferring out, I think stirred some things up. Um, but we said it when it happened. We said it back in February. I think we did a preview for Tennessee. There's also an opportunity for Tennessee to rally around the new quarterback and around this idea that, we were bigger than our quarterback, anyways, right? Nico didn't provide that much last year for the offense for Tennessee. I think losing him has been a little bit of a benefit to this Tennessee Vols offense and the team in general. I think it allowed the team to kind of come together and figure some things out and rally behind their coach, have their coaches back. I think it was a culture building moment for Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Vols team and the program. And now in week 3, you've got an opportunity to go up against one of the biggest powerhouses in college football right now and get a win at home in front of your home crowd. You mentioned it; they haven't won at home since 2015. Haven't beaten Georgia in general since 2016, and it took a Hail Mary last second play to do that.
We were there for that one.
We were there for that one. Best loss I've ever been to. I'll still say, but um, you know, looking at this game and being a Georgia fan, I was watching the game on Saturday, and I'm thinking, there's no way Georgia's beating Tennessee now. There's just no way. Since then, I've kind of come down from that sort of doom and gloom headspace, and and I do think that you know as bad as Georgia was on the goal line in particular, in short yardage situations, they haven't been great in the red zone. They haven't been great. I just look at this defense for Georgia, and I think that is going to be the difference. They're very young, a lot of first and second year players on that side of the football, but a lot of those players are going to be future first round picks. I'm going to go ahead and tell you there's not a team in the country that has more depth than Georgia on the defensive side of the football. And I think that you're seeing the start of something special on that side of the football for Georgia. I've been saying from the beginning that Georgia is really positioning themselves for a 2026, 2027 national championship. I don't think they win it in 2025, but there will be signs of that this year. And in big games, you're going to see some big plays being made. This could be a game for Georgia to kind of show that and prove that. But this could also be this is also the year where if Tennessee's going to get Georgia, they could do it right now. I think that I've seen enough from the offense in particular that this I mean Tennessee could hang 30 on Georgia, and we're over here looking like idiots talking about the defense and things like that. There's just a lot of unknowns coming from the Vols, just given their schedule. And now it's time to kind of put up or shut up. I think if they're going to get Georgia in a year, I think this is as good as any. You get them at home, you get an offense that's sputtering, and you feel really good about your defense. I think Joshua Josephs in particular could be the difference in this game. Him and I mean Dominic Bailey, Bryson Eason, a lot of the same guys we were talking about last year being absolute havoc wreakers. Not as deep as they were last year, I think for sure. But if Tennessee is able to get a pass rush and stop the run as well, that defensive line is going to be pressured in this football game. If they're able to do that, I think the offense is strong enough to be able to win this football game. I do think that Georgia wins it. I like Tennessee to cover here. I think it's a 2 or 3 point win for Georgia, but more than anything, I like the under here. I don't think that either team gets out of the 20s, and I think that there's a chance that this game's played in the teens, like you said. Give me Georgia to win it outright, but this should be a barn burner. I think College Game Day picked the right matchup this week, and I feel like this one's going to be really fun to watch. A 4-quarter game for sure.
Yeah, I think the sparks will fly in the SEC this weekend, and I think this game will be one of them. This will be a real close one, I think. And if you're gonna if you're gonna bet the spread, if you're gonna play with that 3.5, you got to you got to take the plus 3.5 there. Georgia hasn't showed us anything offensively to take them to cover that. May come out and do that this Saturday, though. We've seen Kirby Smart teams come out and shine in these big moments, and they've done that on the road in Knoxville several times. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a good one going down on Saturday at 3:30.